Okay, so for today's video, I wanted to talk about the 4 reasons you should never take a narcissist to therapy. Um, a lot of couples, I'm sure, find their way to a therapist, especially if you're dating a narcissist or married to a narcissist, for probably pretty much like the same 3 reasons. And that's probably cheating, lying, and stealing, or some combination of those 3. Those are really common behaviors for narcissists. Um, by and large, because they have a huge attitude of entitlement, they think that they should be allowed to do whatever they want, whatever they want, whenever they want, with whomever they want, as much as they want. And they follow their whims. And they really don't understand why you or anybody else would have a problem with their behavior. Um, you know, they just have this like jaw-dropping lack of empathy when they get caught for things too. It's just sort of like, okay, yeah, I get it, but so I said I'm sorry. If you even get that, they might not even say I'm sorry. They might say, blame it on you. Like, I'm sorry, I cheated. I cheated because, you were never home with the kids, you'd gained weight, you'd this, that, and the other. The woman threw herself at me, all of this nonsense. And, so now they make it, a couple's problem instead of their problem, when really that's their problem. So couples find their way into therapy. Not every therapist or psychologist or psychiatrist or mental health professional specializes in the same thing. So it's really, really, really important that you find a therapist who is familiar with narcissism and narcissistic abuse and signs, like what that looks like, and the dynamic between the two people. Because, well, and I'll get into that here in a second. So the first reason you should never take a narcissist to therapy is reason number 1: they do not think they have a problem. So it's really going to be a huge waste of time and of money and of energy. And then there's other reasons I'll get to that make it just flat out dangerous for you to go. But it's screaming into the wind. They do not change. Narcissists never change. If anything, they get worse with age, and they get worse with therapy. Let's see, what am I trying to say here? Okay. Reason number 2 to not take a narcissist to therapy: there's a very solid chance that they will charm the therapist. This is a very legitimate concern. If the therapist isn't familiar with emotional abuse or narcissistic abuse in any kind, there's a very solid chance they're not going to spot them as a narcissist. They're going to treat them as a normal person that just has some bad behavior. I've seen this happen a lot. A good therapist might take a session or 2, ideally 1, to really hone in and catch on to that you're dating a narcissist or you're in a relationship with a narcissist. A good therapist, after the session's over, should pull you aside and say, you are in a relationship with a narcissist. They do not change. There is nothing that I can do to help them. However, I can work with you and I can help you. How about you come back alone? That's what a good therapist should say. If you are with a therapist who feels that couples counseling is a great idea, and that they do say that you are with a narcissist and they feel like they can change the narcissist, I strongly recommend you find another therapist, because in my opinion, that they are not familiar with narcissistic abuse if they're recommending couples counseling with the narcissist and they think the narcissist can change. All of the research that has been done is contrary to that. So, and there have been studies done with prisoners who have gone through intensive counseling and treatment that have been diagnosed as narcissists and sociopaths and psychopaths, or now called antisocials, where therapy has made them worse. Their rates of reoffending and going back to prison are much higher than those that have never gone into therapy. So just so you know. Okay, third reason you should not take a narcissist to therapy is they will learn all of your weak spots. So if you're continuing in couples counseling and, you're telling them that, you're discussing all of your hopes and your fears and your dreams and your concerns about their behavior, you're basically you're showing all of your cards is what it is. And they're going to, extract everything that they can, all of your weak spots, because that's what they prey on, right? They prey on vulnerabilities. And everybody has vulnerabilities. It's part of being human. You will have vulnerabilities until the day you die, and there's nothing wrong with that. But they will figure out what those vulnerabilities that you have at this point in time, and they will use those against you down the road, which of course is, makes them really dangerous and hurtful, and it just gives them a lot of power, just a lot of unnecessary power. So the fourth reason to not take a narcissist to therapy is they learn which behaviors of theirs are most obvious, and then they learn to hide them better. So if you're there, you and the therapist both are pointing out all these different behaviors and saying, hey, okay, you're here for cheating and this is what happened, and they're pointing out patterns of behavior that are problematic. You're basically telling them, hey, you know what, your con game isn't working in this area, in this area, in this area, in this area, and so if you want to continue this con, you better up your game. And that's exactly how they hear that. And so what they do is they just learn to hide these behaviors better, which makes them, this is why the rates of reoffending for prison are so much higher, is they have learned what's tripping them up, what's sending off red flags to other people. So it just makes them incredibly dangerous. Because they are able to verbalize very well exactly what you need to hear in order for them to continue using you and to get away with their bad behavior. So I would strongly encourage you, if you do have a highly manipulative person in your life, to get into therapy with a good therapist who is familiar with narcissistic abuse, and to work on yourself, because it's really helpful to have kind of that neutral third person to bounce things off of, as well as to help if you have any codependency issues or what have you, to kind of work through a lot of those and to help you set good boundaries and to raise your standards of the behavior of the people that you're tolerating in your life. So yeah, that's it. So thank you. And as always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, frustrations, ideas, videos you want to see made, what have you, let me know. I'll put a link to my website down here. It's narcissistsupport.com, or my Facebook group, which is Narcissist Support on Facebook. Okay, thanks. Bye.